Let's take a look at the journal entries in a process costing system. The process costing journal entries are exactly the same as the journal entries in a job order costing system. The same inventory accounts are used as well: raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. When raw materials are purchased on account for use in factory production, we would debit raw materials for the amount of inventory purchased and credit accounts payable. When direct materials are requisitioned into production, we're going to take the cost of those materials out of the raw materials inventory account with a credit, and we are going to debit them into the goods in process inventory account. As indirect materials are called into production, those indirect materials are going to come out of the raw material account with a credit, and we're going to record actual indirect material costs with a debit into the factory overhead clearing account. As direct labor is paid or expected to be paid at the end of an accounting period or at the end of a payroll period, we would debit the amount of direct labor wages right into goods in process inventory, and we would credit factory wages payable or cash if it's paid right away. The indirect labor portion of factory payroll. Indirect labor, actual indirect labor costs, are debited into the factory overhead clearing account and credited to factory wages payable or cash if paid immediately. As other indirect factory overhead costs are incurred, those actual indirect costs are debited into factory overhead and credited into the appropriate account. Finally, as the estimate or the allocation of overhead is recorded, we would use the predetermined overhead rate to calculate the amount, and that amount would be debited into goods in process and crediting the clearing account for the amount of that estimate factory overhead.